Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Doom Productions podcast. I am Jordan.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Zach.
And we are filmmakers on YouTube. And every week we have videos about films and filmmaking that we release on our channel. And we make feature films, we make short films, and we make this podcast where we talk about all of it, all things about film, making movies, watching movies, discussing them, all that sort of good stuff. And today for the last few weeks, we've been addressing some viewer-submitted questions. Definitely not just one viewer who's been sending in stuff. We've had lots of viewers submit these questions.
Tons.
Well, I wasn't gonna. Maybe or may not be Thomas. And so today we're continuing on the trend of these fantastic questions that these viewers are submitting. But let's start off with some warm questions here. We've gotten a couple of questions that aren't big enough for an entire episode of our podcast, but they're good questions that we feel like we can quickly answer, just kind of a warm-up. So this first question this viewer asked is, one-take movies. Would you try it yourself?
Yes, we would, because we've done it already.
Yeah.
You were the director for this project, but a couple of years ago, this would have been 2017.
2017.
We made this little feature film called... short film called Ready, Set, Smile that is still available on our channel. You can go check it out right now. It is free to watch. And it's a one-take video. I mean, it's probably the only one we've had that much rehearsing for because that style of filmmaking kind of required it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you were the director for it. Do you have any specific things you want to say about that project, Jordan?
It was shot in one take, and it won some awards. Go check it out.
Amen.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You have time for 5 minutes. If you have time for an hour-long podcast, you have time for a 5-minute short film. Just pause this, go watch it, come back here.
We'll have a card even pop up maybe if I'm feeling it when I upload this podcast later.
Yeah.
Unless you're on Spotify, in which case, get on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube's better. No, I love Spotify. Next question. Are you going to collaborate with any filmmaker channels like yourselves? We have done that with other channels before.
And we plan to continue.
We've actually... So when I assume you say filmmaking channels like yourselves, I assume you mean like guys like RC Films, Joel Haver, RC... 922 Films and all that. We've collaborated with a bunch of those guys in this YouTube filmmaking scene, but last week, well, I guess a couple weeks ago, on Thanksgiving Day, a huge collaboration dropped on a big channel.
That is not Joel Haver.
That is probably not anyone you would expect us to collab with, but if you can find it, let us know, because it'd be funny.
One person has already seen it.
So one of our viewers commented on this video and said, "Hey, it's the Doomed guys." And so if you can find it, you get some
brownie points.
Brownie points. Yeah, we'll be like, that is a dedicated fan. But yeah, this YouTuber, they're pretty big.
Yeah,
everyone knows the name of this YouTuber.
Yeah, this is a household name.
Even people who aren't on YouTube.
Yeah,
know this person.
You don't have to be subscribed to this guy to know who he is.
Yeah, it's a household name. So, anyways, check that. Look, be on the. Go browse through YouTube, and you'll probably see us. Anyways, now to some more fun questions, I guess. What are your comfort go-to movies for when you're having a bad day?
Oh, probably
none of them. I don't like watching movies.
Oh, no. I'd have to go with, the Star Wars original trilogy, particularly A New Hope and Return of the Jedi.
I was thinking the prequels, so...
Ooh. Well, I enjoy those too, but it's like those...
But...
I get so engaged.
But... Just kidding.
I mean, all of them, honestly. But particularly A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. Yeah. Especially Return of the Jedi. That one just feels like a really good, sick movie where you just sit down with chicken noodle soup and some juice and just watch it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm less of a movie watcher for my feel. If I want comfort watching, I'm less inclined to actually watch a movie for that. I'll watch. There's some TV shows I really like watching, like Regular Show, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
Yeah.
and what else? used to be The Office. It's Always Sunny. Always Sunny in
Always
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The most wholesome TV show in the
Sometimes you
world.
just gotta laugh. What's actually in my office today?
Uh-huh.
This is a side tangent, but there's a person who listens to like classical radio kind of stuff, and the theme song of The Office or of It's Always Sunny was playing
Because it's a classical piece.
It's a classical piece.
Yeah.
So it definitely took me out. It was a trip.
That's funny.
She's not the kind of person who would watch It's Always Sunny.
I don't think so, no.
And I work in a church, if you didn't know that, so it's not the environment you'd expect.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways.
For me, I would say it changes some because it's not really a comfort. This isn't like comfort movie and like I'm feeling bad, I'm gonna cheer yourself. But something like I'll go through cycles of uploading or not uploading. I'll go through cycles of watching, like putting on a movie as I'm like falling asleep.
Yeah.
Just for comfort. The last few weeks I've been putting on House. Not our house, your house.
Yeah.
The Japanese house. I'll just put
confusing.
I know.
But yes, go on.
There's a movie called House.
In the middle of the street.
Japanese movie. It's pretty awesome. And I've been putting that on as I'm going to sleep. Not as an insult to the filmmaker or anything, but like I like this movie. I like falling asleep to it. And I'm sure in a few weeks it'll be something else.
Yeah.
But also thinking more traditionally, like what do I put on if I'm like just want to relax and not think about the world. I'm kind of like similar to Ethan. I don't watch movies a lot these days, unless I'm with people and they want to watch movies.
Yeah.
When I was like that, I think it was either like Superman 2 or Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But nowadays I'll watch something like Over the Garden Wall or like
Over the Garden Wall is fantastic.
like old Disney animated like Legend of Sleepy Hollow, or Mr. Toad stuff, or like oh gosh, what's the other
Is that
one
stuff
called?
on Disney Plus now?
It's all on Disney Plus. Yeah.
I need to go.
Or
through their
Fantasia. Fantasia's another
archives.
one.
Is Black Cauldron on Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus.
When have I been sleeping on this?
Animated, a lot of animated
Yeah.
movies is what
I
I'll
need
watch.
to use my Disney Plus more.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Next question: if you could meet with any director, alive or dead, who and why?
The room goes silent.
The room goes silent. Well, I have my answer.
Go for it.
Well, if you've seen, I released a video not too long ago about my favorite filmmaker, Maya Deren. She's no longer with us.
Yeah.
I would have loved to sat down and picked her brains because I can't remember if I talked about this in the video I made on her or not. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's got her face right there. It's about this about her and her kind of work. It's a very brief synopsis about her, but when I was reading through not her essays and her writings, when I was reading through all that stuff, some of the stuff comes across like, oh, this is like something I would have written, and it's like I've never had that happen before, where you come across like someone in your field who you look up to, and you're like, oh my gosh, like when I hear you in interviews, like that's exactly how I feel. Like that hasn't happened. Like because I bet you there's like musicians out there who are like, oh my gosh, Bob Dylan. When I hear him talk about music, like that is like sounds like me speaking. And reading Maya Deren, her writings on film and her views on it, it's like, oh my gosh, that's like something that sounds like I would have said it. Obviously, she's a lot more articulate and eloquent than I am. She was a very smart lady, so
Yeah.
it would have been cool to sit down and pick her brain about films. But she's no longer with us. I guess if it was someone alive, George Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to say George Lucas.
Yeah, that
'cause
was
that's
like
where my
go-to.
brain goes. I'm kind of like, I don't know. It's like, I think David Lynch is my answer. I think that's my answer, but it also might be Robert Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, Robert. Yeah,
So I'm going to go with Robert Rodriguez
yeah.
because Spy Kids. And also
Kids.
because he's just a fantastic action director. And I just think he's got a lot I would love to talk to him about. Because I don't know. The stuff that I'm less good at, but I'm really love that he does. And so I want to, I don't know. I think that's the more fun thing.
Yeah,
But other than that, I'll settle for David Lynch.
yeah. I'll settle for it.
One would never expected to hear that in that phrase. Yeah, My go-to would be George Lucas, but like also Orson Welles or Billy Wilder.
Orson Welles.
Oh yeah.
Those are all, or both of those are very brilliant older filmmakers that like I studied film noir for a term.
Orson Welles and I share a birthday.
Really?
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
I have the same birthday as Peter Jackson.
Hey, right on.
Zach,
It was meant to be.
What famous director's birthday do you share?
My own. No.
Oh snap!
No, I don't know. There's probably somebody.
What
out
is your
there, but
birthday?
June 25th.
June 25th. I'm going to find out what your director is.
June 25th. That's
It's
like a
the
good
same
date.
day.
That's
that
a
is
good
a nice
June
date.
25th. That's like very attractive, like on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
The Battle of something. I don't remember which, but it was like the one survivor was like a horse. I don't remember.
George Orwell.
Really?
Oh.
What?
Oh, not a director, but a
And-
great author.
Yeah, and
Wow.
Ricky Gervais. Sorry, I'm just pulling out film people as I see them.
Nice.
Those are the two big ones I'm seeing here.
Nice.
So you at least have that. Yeah, those are the main ones. So sorry, no film people that I'm seeing unless I'm missing something, but those are two cool people.
I mean, yeah, those are some pretty cool people.
Yeah.
Right there. Anyways, yeah, some good fun little questions. Now let's dig into our main topic of this episode, which is probably going to be, I don't know, might take us to some interesting places. This question once again, viewer submitted. The lines filmmakers cross. The examples this viewer gave were it was directors abusing actors, Kubrick, Shining, Shelley Duvall, etc. I'm reading this verbatim.
Yeah.
If you weren't aware,
This isn't talking about like abuse, like beating your actors. This is like to get a performance, you treat your actors a certain negative way. That's what this
Yes.
is talking about.
yeah, not necessarily sexual abuse, or although I'm sure directors have absolutely done stuff like that.
That's not what this
Yeah,
question is
The
tackling.
question is, I mean, if you're not aware, on the set of The Shining, Kubrick was apparently intentionally antagonistic towards Shelley Duvall, and she's very stressed out if you watch the behind the scenes of The Shining, and she did not seem to have a good time, and it translated into her performance. It's one of the best performances in a horror film, but it's also
is the reason he got that performance good.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
which is very questionable. Very
Yeah.
I mean, I that crosses a line. I would never
No.
pick someone like that, but it's definitely. I mean, the results are. I mean, like he got what he wanted. So, but anyway, so that's the first example. So that's a famous example of
Yeah.
someone abusing I guess your employee technically, pretty much. And then the next example this person gives is the legal line filmmakers cross trespassing locations, music copyright. I think there's a lot more gray area with that than
Yeah.
the first one.
Especially with internet filmmaking.
Yeah.
Because that's still, while there are rules and it is a developing industry, it is still very much the Wild West, and it's constantly changing. There are new platforms coming out all the time that are changed. Like even YouTube stance changed, but then you have things like TikTok, which is another form of filmmaking. You have Instagram, and all their rules are different.
Yeah.
So it's just such a wild place, and anything is kind of possible.
Before we move on to tackle that,
Yeah, I know.
I think we gotta nip it in the bud. I mean, we're set on this. You probably can't change your minds. We've done videos on this. We feel like when you're on set as a director, you gotta be nice to your crew, to your actors.
It's your job to make sure everyone is comfortable and having a good time on set.
Yeah.
If no one should be walking away with a negative experience,
Yeah.
that's within your control.
Yeah. We were pretty strongly against, I mean, The Shining, I mean, I couldn't imagine treating like someone like that. And I would hope that I never do, or if I even started to come that close, someone would call me out on it.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's acceptable. And, you know, I've never heard Shelley Duvall talk about it. I would be interested to see what, like, she has to say about that whole experience. Because it's a lot of, like, people around Stanley Kubrick or people who were there were, like, rumors. I would love to know like what her exact experiences were. Maybe she has talked about it, but I haven't found it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it'd be interesting to see. I'd love to hear what she has to say from that perspective and like how that affected her. Yeah, but I mean, I don't even think there's much to discuss there other than like, don't abuse actors.
That's not the way to get a performance, whether or not it gets the
works.
performance you want.
Yeah.
Like in this example,
Yeah.
there's no excuse for it at the end of
Yeah.
the day. It is crossing a line.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And
It's ultimately the question of, do the ends justify the means? And in this particular
You're
case,
taking advantage of another human.
It's
No.
not. It's not nice.
yeah. And I feel like there have been examples like there's a difference between intentionally manipulating someone and like a shoot being hard because like I don't know about enough about the shoot to say what was done right or wrong morally or ethically, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre famously had like a really, really, really troubling shoot and like was really stressful, and all the actors hated the director by the end of it. I don't know if that was abuse. I don't think it was. I think it was because it was the hottest summer of the year. The conditions were just really stressful, and everybody was on edge. And just if you don't want to do take after take. I'm assuming that's what it was. So for argument's sake, let's say that's what it was. That's different than going up to your actor and being like, "What the hell's wrong with you? Do it, blah blah," and just
tearing them apart.
That's very different. So I think there's and I think that's a more nuanced question of like, how much do you push? How much do you not push? I mean, I know
we had a hard shoot this year.
Yeah.
We had a shoot in the summer for The Bell Rings that was hot days out in the middle of a field doing real farm work.
Real farm work.
The lightest version we could of real farm work, at least.
Yes.
But like we were digging holes and when you're doing that plus acting, and you were going really hard on your character stuff too. Yeah. So that was a very heavy shoot for you and I mean for everyone.
Yeah.
And there were long days, a lot of them. Like we weren't doing our shorter days, so some of them were like 6-7 hour days.
But I think we generally walked away being like, "Oh, that was fun."
In the middle of it always sucked.
Yeah.
But we were able to. No one walked away from it, at least from what I know, being like, "I'll never make a movie again."
I think when it comes to pushing your crew or actors, it's definitely a matter of like what the individual.
Yeah. And we would have check-ins throughout the day of how are you feeling? Do you need a longer break? Do we want to cut the day shorter?
Yeah.
We would always offer that if it was getting rough.
Yeah.
And luckily, all the actors on that set were awesome and wanted to keep going.
There's laughing going on
outside the door.
Room over.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all to say. Like the buck should stop with your talent.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones having to do the work, and if they're not comfortable or if they're
or if you're
struggling,
if you're unsure about the situation, I don't know what specific situation that would be, but just like asking, "Hey, are you okay with this certain circumstance, or if we do this or whatever?"
Yeah,
and that puts it in their ballpark so that they're making the decision that they feel most comfortable with.
And just checking in with them.
Yeah,
like it doesn't need to be anything huge. Just, "Hey, are you good? Are you good?"
That's where you have a lot of benefits as a no-budget filmmaker or independent filmmaker when you on this level, because when you're working on a big Hollywood crew or set, like, if there's a clear hierarchy and there's differences in power dynamics. And if you're like a no-name actor and you come onto this big set and the director's like, "Hey, we're going to shoot this scene. You're going to be naked for this." It's like, whoa, what? You're going to feel a lot of external pressure, like to agree and go along with things. On a no-budget set, well, there's not a lot of money, not a lot of time, not a lot of resources, all that stuff being put on it. It is your benefit to be able to connect with your crew and your actors on an individual level. So if you're not doing that, what are you doing? That's your that's something like that you have to work really hard to do that on a huge film set, that should be really easy for you if you're just shooting with your friends or like maybe some local actors and everything. It's like you can have that time to connect with people on a like personal level and like make sure that those you actually are able to clearly communicate and there isn't that strange, power dynamic. Even though some people might feel that way, even though those situations, it's not like those situations don't happen on sets.
They're easier to avoid.
Yes, easier to avoid, and it's easier to like not have things lost in translation and be able to check in with people, which is like, again, that's like number one. If you're not having fun making a movie, like you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, well, obviously, filmmakers are always like self-deprecating about like their movies.
Always depressed.
Always depressed. But like that's filmmaker. Like that's normal for a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Like shooting's pretty fun.
Yeah.
With your crew and everything.
Yeah. That's what you live for, is getting out on set the next day usually.
Yeah, and so you got to make sure everyone's having fun. And it's really hard to, I don't know, it's hard to watch movies where some shady stuff happened behind the scenes where people getting hurt. I'm trying to think of a good example. But I guess like The Shining is like, that's partly why that movie's so like scary and like her performance is so good is like, all the stuff was happening behind the scenes. It's like, oh man, I just feel for this person and you like feel so much, which impacts it. But it's like some movies it's hard to watch if like stuff was going on.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this isn't necessarily the best example, but especially since, it's not necessarily lighter, but it was the 2017's Justice League. It's just like, not just because I think it's a terrible movie, which is my opinion, but also just knowing what happened behind the scenes with that is why I probably will likely not ever see that movie again unless I'm going to debate somebody on which version of the movie is better, in which case study your enemy. But
it's very true. But it's very, I don't know, we could probably talk about this for on and on, but I feel like it's pretty like black and white for us. Like just treat people nice. Don't be a jerk.
If your actor's uncomfortable, listen to them.
Maybe if that communication's hard for you, you should work on that, because directing is communicating all the time. And if people have a hard time reading you, like that's something I've struggled with just in my life in general, is like sometimes I come across as, viewers have said this, they think I'm very mean and very serious. That is the exact opposite of who I am. Oh, just press the enter button. Yeah. Sorry. The thing popped up on my computer. People think I'm really serious or like mean or angry. I'm not. That's just my personality, and I've had to work towards like coming across more friendly than I sound. Like making my body language and my voice, making that match how I'm feeling, because people will be like, "Why is he so angry?" And it's like, I'm not angry. I'm just sitting here. So it's something that I like. If I showed up to set and I didn't work on any of that, I would probably look like a jerk.
Yeah.
So you got to work on yourself first and foremost. You can't be mean to people. But yeah. Ethan, on the other hand, doesn't care about any of this. He's willing to no, I'm joking. He's willing to throw bars of soap at people and just like hurl brick. No.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't get it right on the first take, I'm gonna be furious.
He's screaming. Anyways. Yeah. So I guess, I mean, the more gray area, which is brought up in this question, is the legal lines filmmakers cross. So the examples were trespassing, locations, music copyright. Let's
talk about the ones we've broken.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Music copyright.
That's the easy one. The music stuff's the easy one, but we've done
some.
So we use copyrighted music sometimes.
Yes,
we've done it. In some of our older shorts, there was a time where we decided we weren't going to do it, but then also we've found times like in Video Carnage where we felt it was appropriate for the project.
Or in a YouTube video. Where it's like we're talking about Leica, so we use Leica music. Or I talk about Maya Deeren, so I use her movies, which I think are technically in the public domain, but I'm not positive, actually. Yeah. So, anyways.
Yeah, so it's like, from a legal standpoint, as long as you're not making money off of that, that's fine.
Well, and it's, again, we do it because the platform we're releasing on, which is YouTube, allows us to do it. because of the rules that are in place. If we were releasing movies only for film festivals, we'd have a different approach to how we make movies. But YouTube is our focus, so we're tailoring what we make to it. So
it's not illegal.
No, it's not illegal. It's totally legal.
It was probably considered illegal back in the day when YouTube would remove the sound from your movie.
Yeah, or just take the whole video down.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. But if you were to make a movie, use copyrighted music, and sell it,
without
I hope you make a lot of money so you can afford a lawyer or to pay for those rights, because that's legally that's gonna be what happens.
Yeah.
I know Matt Johnson, filmmaker that we really like,
made Nirvana the band, The Show,
The Dirties, Operation Avalanche.
Yeah.
Apparently, when they made The Dirties, they submitted it to festivals, but they had copywritten music in it. Mm-hmm. And so once it was bought, they then were able to purchase it. I think. I'm not positive on how that all went down, but I know that they had to make a lot of clearance with like the different media that appears in Matt's movies, and that's an interesting. I would love to know more about like the logistics of all that, but he's proven that it's possible to do.
Yeah.
And Nirvana the band, The Show, proves that they've been able to get away with it with a really good lawyer without having to pay a cent for like. So what they'll do in that show is they, if they're using like the Jurassic Park theme, they won't actually use the Jurassic Park theme. Their composer Jay will recreate it, use it, and because it's intertwined in the movie in a way,
it's parody.
Well, no, not parody. If you separate that Jurassic Park theme song from the show or the episode, you cannot tell the story of that show. Apparently, that is fair use.
Oh, it's interesting.
Oh, I thought it was...
We are not lawyers. We're not experts on this. I'm repeating what I've heard Matt Johnson say in interviews.
Got it.
So check in with him or check with an actual lawyer before you do any of this. But Matt Johnson is someone who pushes the legal boundaries of using other media or songs or movies to tell your story, and apparently not having to pay a cent for most of it, which is really interesting.
Huh.
The way we do it is kind of boring. YouTube just lets us do it.
We just download, get the MP3, and throw it on the timeline.
Yeah.
Good to go.
Yeah, it's very uneventful how we do it. But how I would highly recommend checking out Matt Johnson's movies and just researching more about him, because he's
some very interesting interviews where he talks about it.
Yeah.
As for trespassing
locations.
So we have some experience.
Yes.
Most notable, I guess, there's this short film we made called For a Few Mustaches More and Righteous Hombres. And in these two movies, there's a location that you'll notice we use a lot, which is on these train tracks, and there's this big bridge. We went up onto this big old railroad bridge, and we filmed a whole short film there. So for a Few Mustaches More, we filmed the entire short there, no issues. Righteous Hombres, I think we filmed twice. Or just one time?
We filmed one time.
Okay, we filmed one time.
We were going to shoot 2 times, but because of the first time, we didn't.
Yeah. So we were filming up there for probably a couple hours. No issues, no trains or anything like that. Jordan had told us the train tracks were no longer active.
I thought they were inactive.
Yeah. So that was the assumption we went in with. And there were no trespassing signs.
In fact, the fence was like down.
So,
which legally, again, isn't like...
It's gray.
That's gray, because the fence was clearly there, but it also was like...
Totally overgrown
with bushes. There was a clear path right to it.
Yeah.
But again, no trespassing signs, no like... There was a fence, but the fence was totally down and looked abandoned. It wasn't being kept up.
Yes. So we took that as that we could film there.
Yeah.
And so we went up, and then after a couple hours of filming, actually, if you go to the end credits of the movie, we point out the exact moment you can see.
In
Righteous Hombres. In the credits, you can see the exact moment the state trooper who's walking up to us becomes visible in the shot. We point him out. And yeah, we found out pretty quickly that we were not allowed to be filming up there. And he talked to us. He was very kind, very understanding. Definitely could tell we were filming because we were... all except me in full cowboy outfits.
It helped because most people who trespass up there probably go up there to do drugs or graffiti. We were making a Western movie, which the the police officer got a kick out of, I'm guessing.
I don't think he cared that we were actually doing it.
It was
It was harmless.
harmless interaction.
And we got all the shots we needed anyways for that day, so it
Yeah.
was nice. So we weren't like set back. It was
Yeah.
the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it was a good shooting day, good interaction, but that was trespassing.
That was
Technically.
trespassing,
Yeah.
but we just didn't know until a little later.
Yeah.
At least we didn't fully understand
Yeah.
the gravity.
Well, also
But,
when you're young, I think we were probably 18, 19.
We were 18 for a few mustaches more, and then I think 19 for Righteous Hombres.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're young enough. We were college age, where it's like, oh, just some kids. I mean, you can get away with a lot with a student ID card.
And a clear record.
Clear record.
We had nothing.
but also like, just like looking like you're there to do like, I'm just here for my movie.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about this before. Again, filming in places where you probably shouldn't film, but it's not technically against the rules, but probably is somewhere.
Someone will probably try and stop you
Yeah.
if you're too much.
If you're not causing a big disruption, if you are just making your movie, you're not trying to upset anyone or anything, and you're honest and just be like, yeah, I didn't know I couldn't do that. I'm just here to make a movie. There's probably not going to be a huge problem.
No.
For most people. I'm not saying that there's still people who get really upset if you like have a camera in public and they'll get angry.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be fine, I think.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like, oh, hey, I'm going to go try to shoot a fight sequence on the front lawn of the White House.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
exactly.
Don't do that.
We're talking, don't have weapons of any kind.
Yeah.
Don't have, like, if you're in public or if you're, I don't encourage trespassing.
No,
but
no. This is not us saying go do it.
we have accidentally trespassed.
Yes.
A few times.
Were there other times besides that?
Well, technically, when we went into the PSU, filmed at PSU a few times.
Oh, yeah,
That's
you're right.
technically trespassing because a few of those times I wasn't actually a student there.
That's right.
And you're not supposed to film. But again, it's one of those things where...
And PSU wouldn't, when you were a film student,
Yeah.
they wouldn't let you film. Like you were told not to ask permission to film at PSU.
My film professor said, don't ask permission. The university will say no, just do it.
Yeah.
And so that's the advice that I followed.
Yep.
So I was listening to my film professors. Again, I wasn't in college at the time, but it's
Worked out for us.
it worked out for us. And I mean, remember, we were filming Driving Mr. President.
Yeah.
A security guard came up to us. and
You
was like,
walked right past and said, hey.
hey, are you guys making a movie? We're like, yep. He's like, cool. Kept on walking.
Didn't care.
Again, if you're not being disruptive, if you're not making a scene, if you're not making anyone feel unsafe or threatened, you're going to be fine. If you are making people feel unsafe or threatened, that's
Or
a
you're
different
just being
story.
super disruptive.
Yeah, that's a different story. But
Yeah.
if you I don't feel like I need to tell people like what unsafe or non-disruptive behavior is.
Use
Like,
common sense.
You're an adult. Use common sense. Don't do anything stupid. But you can totally film in public and in places where you're probably not allowed to film, but there's no rule against it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, with cell phones, it makes that line blurred a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We filmed in malls before.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely a rule. Malls, if you don't know, malls are notorious for like, you're filming in here, you gotta leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We filmed in malls before.
Had no issue.
No issue. What other legal lines have we potentially crossed? I mean, trespassing locations is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of any big ones other than those.
I mean, that's really all that comes up as a no-budget filmmaker, I feel
Yeah.
like. Because in Wild Boys, we filmed in the store.
Yeah.
There's no rule against it, but we were just filming on our phones, and we didn't make a big deal. We just came in and...
Did it and left. Again,
Yeah.
because it's on a phone, people just don't care as much. If we come in, with a DSLR, that would have been pushing it probably.
Yeah.
Anything bigger than that definitely would have just been a no.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get away with a lot with just your phone nowadays.
I think something I could think of is like the whole documentary thing of like if you're filming out in public and you see someone's face, blurring it or asking their permission and stuff like that. Which I think depends on the project.
Yeah, because if you're
Yeah.
filming in public, though, there is like I see over and over again people talk about how if you're filming in public and people, like, if someone gets upset, well, it is a public space, and it's reasonable that you could be in someone's picture, in someone's video. You're taking a certain level on yourself of being in the public and being able to just be filmed.
And I don't mean...
So, and that's not like getting in people's face and filming.
No, and it's not even like shooting from a long lens, focusing on one person in the background. It's like you're filming a scene and someone walks past in the background.
Yeah.
Like having to stop and ask their permission. Like, hey, you popped up in a shot. Can we use you? Now, if you're a big Hollywood movie, you're making a lot of money. Yeah, I think they would have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless... Because I know there are laws, though, in photography where the difference between a crowd shot and a like profile like on one person, like if Times magazine went out and took a picture of like a big group of people and you see a couple people's faces in that, I don't think they have to talk to them or like
it's
get the
so
permission.
interesting. The photography
there's a journalism like there's a rules in journalism which I'm not an expert. Go talk to a lawyer or someone about it.
And with photography it gets really gray because they're street photographers and that some of them, that's their whole thing, is they go out and they photograph people. And I've seen a lot of people in that discussion, especially on like Twitter, talking about what's the difference between taking a photo of someone and what's street photography, and like where's the line between having to ask their permission or not. And that's a really gray thing. And a lot of people, I mean, at least the decision or somewhat consensus I've seen has been along the lines of like, if it's a passing moment where you get a shot while someone's walking by you and there's no time to stop them necessarily or ask to take that photo, that's one thing. But if you're like, if we're on the bus and I'm with you for 40 minutes sitting across and I like compose my shot and I take it and I don't talk to you, that's like crossing a boundary.
And again, I think it's common sense. And also the intent. Like I could see someone being like, I could see you like, oh my gosh, this image of you sitting on this bench is perfect. I need to grab the shot. There's a respectful way of doing it where it's not weird or creepy or make the person feel uncomfortable, where it's like, you stop and you're like, hey, oh my gosh, I'm a photographer. Here's some of my work on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
This image, can I please take a photo of you and I'll send you the link on Google Drive. I think a lot of people would say yes. I would say yes if someone approached me like that. But there's probably people who'd be like, no, thank you. And it's like, okay.
And then you just move on.
Then move on. No need to upset someone intentionally.
No.
Just like, there's some things in the world that are beautiful because they're just passing moments.
They're fleeting.
You don't need to capture everything. Like someone sitting on our park bench, thousands of people, millions of people sit on park benches all around the world. You don't need to capture every single one. Or like one you think is, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. This composition, the background, the light. No, it's just take your L, move on. Like if someone says no, it's all right.
Jeez, you should join photography Twitter.
If you're working,
do people feel otherwise?
You're gonna hear
no. I don't know. I think most people agree, but there is. I mean, it is just interesting seeing how much street photography is kind of making a comeback, especially in the film photography space, and I think there is some gray discussion there. I don't spend a lot of time in it, but I think it's interesting. I don't know. We don't need to harp on it too long. I think it's a little off topic, but
anyways, legal lines we've crossed, or just in general, filmmakers who cross those lines in general.
I'm trying to think of other filmmakers. I mean, what comes to mind actually, I won't talk about the most recent thing this has happened, but this was a couple of years ago where they were filming on like a train, I believe, and one of the actors
the accident
died.
Sarah or something. I can't remember.
I can't remember the details.
There was I think she was a PA. There was an indie shoot. Something did not happen where they were also filming on train tracks on a bridge. The T's and I's were not dotted or crossed out, and a train was coming as they were shooting. Everyone got off the tracks, but this PA, I think it was a PA, she stayed behind and was like, "What about the gear?" And she got stuck or something. I can't remember the story exactly.
This was a couple years ago,
but the woman was hit and killed. On the set, and it's like, yo, you can't do that. Which is a huge thing. I think there have been some positive change from what I understand has come out of it in the industry of like making sure those like paperworks and those documents and that communication is done before you show up to set. But that's like again,
I don't. Yeah.
they're working on a legal level where it's like, yo, you should have been. How come someone wasn't on top of that?
Yeah.
Or like the gun safety thing that just came up with.
That was the other one.
And I understand, or I guess I can see why on a big production, that kind of like stuff, that communication gets lost in the process, because there's so many people, there's so many things going on.
Yeah. It's an industry.
It's an industry, and I know from working retail, like being the lowest bottom person on the totem pole.
You're just showing up. You're doing your job.
I'm showing up. I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
I know that there's things that the CEOs and whatever would want to tell me and want me to do, but it's getting lost in the translation. Like those kind of big industries. Now, film industry is a little bit different, but there's still people in the film industry where it's just a job. They don't really care about it that much. They don't care about movies. They're like, it makes money, I'm okay at it, and I'll just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So, but again, I think with gun safety, I mean, we don't need to get into gun safety, but obviously use common sense. Don't like...
Yeah, even if it's not a real thing, keep those on private property. Do not bring that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm talking, sorry, I know I'm kind of derailing it there, but
yeah, that's
just
fine.
With the use of guns as a whole.
I don't know how you guys feel. I don't feel like Hollywood props are so good. Do you need a real gun on set?
Well, that's what I heard. Yeah, I've seen more and more indie filmmakers saying that after this accident happened, of like, we've been doing fake guns in the indie world forever. That's just the norm. So using blanks still feels really unnecessary.
Blanks don't even shoot blanks.
No,
like the stuff comes out of the front.
Yeah. They can still be lethal.
You can. That's happened before.
I think that was
someone who knew someone
Brandon
who
Lee, I think.
was
that's how he
joking
died.
around and ended up accidentally shooting themselves because they were like, "Hey, look!" and they held it to their face, and they accidentally killed themselves because they were goofing around and they were being stupid.
Nope.
So
don't need them.
Yeah,
I guess what I'm thinking now is like that question of, I kind of already know how we all feel about it, but it's like, the end result, breaking these laws, like, to what extent is it okay? Is it okay? If so, when? Is it not okay? If so, no, when? I think all of us feel that when someone is getting hurt, whether it be like, oh my gosh, someone broke their leg, or oh my gosh, someone got killed, that's not okay when someone's getting hurt. Or even emotionally, like they're emotionally abused or whatever, that's not okay. I think where we're more lenient is like those legal things.
Yeah.
Where it is like using songs. But again, that's legally okay.
The way we do it is
fine.
Do it. Yeah, because we're not out here peddling video carnage on our own DVD sales with Lord and all this other music in it. But
would that be okay if we were?
Like, would we think that's okay?
Like, I'm not saying, obviously legally it's not okay. But the law isn't always
right.
What's ethical, right?
Yeah.
Necessarily.
But I don't. Yeah, I mean, at the end, I don't.
Is it
very
morally
complex? Is
it morally okay to use Lord and sell your movie?
I'd say no, because she's an artist at the end of the day who worked on her thing.
Yeah.
And it's just the same as someone else. I don't know. What if someone else downloaded video card and decided they wanted to sell it too?
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, I know it's a bit more because we are taking that work and using it to heighten part of our movie, but at the end of the day, we're not talking to Lord. Lord didn't give us her blessing.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna
say stay within legal ramifications when possible.
Yeah, obviously.
And when you are, of course, if you end up crossing a legal boundary that you were not aware of was part of the situation you were in, if that makes sense, I guess. Like, unknowingly trespassing or whatever, that's one thing. But if you're like, hey, I'm gonna set out to consciously do some of these things, that
Death penalty.
becomes well, no,
Death penalty.
that just becomes more of a question of, well, legally that's considered one thing, but also like, are you okay with taking that legal risk?
Well, that's the thing too. Like trespassing, is that okay when you're making a movie? If you were aware of it.
Yeah.
We were aware of it when we were at PSU. I mean, I don't know how public a university PSU is.
I mean, it is downtown.
It was down.
Yeah.
It's. I think it's one of the. I don't know if this is correct, but I think I've heard it's the biggest city university in city. I don't know what those are called.
I don't know.
Universities that are like in a city.
Yeah.
Like there's some universities where they're like
the line is so blurred between what's PSU and what's downtown.
Yeah.
You could walk through PSU and not know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like in that case, I also don't remember any struggle getting into the building. Like we would just open the doors and we walked.
It's unlocked.
Is that trespass? That's not trespassing.
No.
If you're a lawyer, let us know if that was trespassing.
We would have gotten away with it.
It's
okay. Here's a better example. Whenever we have tried to film in parking garages downtown, it's very clear. No, you can't do that. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Is it okay to go into a parking garage where you know you're not allowed to film, you're not allowed to loiter, hang out, or everything? Is that ethical to like go into a parking garage, film your movie, and go? Try to do it discreetly.
Yeah. I think that's one of those things where I know how we feel about it. Is it the right answer? I don't
We're
know.
just incriminating ourselves in this episode, aren't we?
You know, it's a funny story about filming in garages. This was back when I was in high school and I was doing senior photos for my friends. I did a photo shoot at a parking garage, and we went up to the top floor so we'd have the overlook of the city. And when we got to the top, there were police because there was someone who I guess was busted with some drugs up on the top floor. And so we got up there. One of the cops like sees us and is like, "Hey, what are you kids doing?" We're like, I was taking some pictures of my friends for senior photos. They're like, "Yeah, you can't do that up here. Like, it's just against the rules." So they told us to leave. So we go down the bottom floor. I'm like, "Hey, there's another parking garage like right over here. Let's just go to that one instead." So we go to the roof of that one, do a bunch of pictures like around the corner. Then we come around and I see that cop and I lock eyes across. And all of a sudden I see him moving for the stairs. And we're like, "We gotta go!" So we ran from the police. We did not get caught. We were 17. We were idiots. But
I think being a minor kind of helps you with a lot of these situations.
oh yeah, we were. I mean, he would have just probably told us we were stupid and yelled at us.
My
But
prefrontal cortex is not fully
not
developed.
it was stupid. We didn't get in trouble though.
But I guess
Been chasing that high ever since.
I know. Again, the trespassing like question. I mean, I think that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
For like what's okay and what's not okay. Obviously, don't break into like a family's home.
Yeah, no,
and
don't do that.
I think we're
talking about minor, very minor trespassing.
We're talking either public places or like like businesses, like not like your mom and pop shop, but like
Remember
a Target or
Hey,
Fred
I'm in
Meyer.
Fred Meyer or whatever.
What about the time when you filmed Perfect Day out in the parking lot and Great American Sleepover, where we went up to that building
Oh yeah.
and we like pretended? Well, in Great American Sleepover, there's a scene where we pretend to try and break into the school district office building, but we just walk up to the front door and crouch down, and then these police officer characters come in and stop us. Is that trespassing? And that was
By this point, it's just three people who don't know anything about the law
discussing the law.
discussing the law.
Yeah.
I don't know, but let's say it was trespassing. Was that okay?
It's okay because we got away with it.
Oh, jeez. For legal purposes, take everything that has been said thus far with a massive grain of salt.
This is all a joke.
These are all hypotheticals
We're all
we
lying,
made up with
obviously.
before.
We are not legal professionals. Do not take our legal advice.
If you would like us to be our lawyer, though, we charge $1 million per case. We do not guarantee winning.
So
but we
they
will
want to be
happily-
our lawyer, so we charge them.
No. We'll be other people's lawyers.
Oh, okay. Yes. That makes sense, obviously.
Unless someone is listening and wants to be our lawyer for projects.
Sure, that'd be cool. Yeah. That'd help us get out of some sticky situations. Not that we get into many sticky situations.
We're very calm.
Yeah, we're pretty smart about how we go about doing things. But again, like the way we do things, is that okay? Like going into like a Target and filming a little video.
Like
on our
like
phone.
when we did like Fred Meyer. We filmed on our DSLR in Fred Meyer when we shot October.
That's right. Is that okay? No one stopped us.
Nope, we were
no
very
signs
discreet.
There's no signs that say it's not okay. We weren't disruptive. We waited until no one was in the frame.
Yep.
We got it and then left. Was that okay? I think it is.
I think it's fine.
If someone had told us to leave, we would have left.
It goes back to our video talking about filming in public.
Yeah.
If there's no specific rule that says do not do this,
Yeah.
as long as you are being respectful,
Yeah.
then I think it's fine.
Yeah, be nice, be safe.
Be
Do
kind,
not
rewind.
intrude on privacy in regards to information or personal situations or whatever.
And
Whenever there's a car, like in Video Carnage, there's shots of cars. I made sure that the license plates were blurred out, or like if it was moving really fast, like you couldn't read them anyways.
yeah.
Like there's a shot in Video Carnage
With a
where
blurred out license plate.
I totally, the whole shot is blurred.
Yeah.
Because Travis's license plate was right there. So I was like, you know what? I'll just make it try to look artsy. So there's like a rack focus kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's a filter. It looks really wonky, but it goes by so fast you wouldn't really catch it.
Yeah.
I blurred it out because I was like, I don't want Travis's license plate out there.
Yeah, like you never know with the internet like what people are gonna choose to do. So it's better be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, I'm trying to, like going into Fred Meyer and filming for October or for Wild Boys, I don't think I would have done that for a like a really tiny local business. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, well, maybe that's because it's so small. It probably would be disrupting if we walked in with cameras and being all kind of talking in our characters or whatever.
That's the benefit of big stores.
That's the benefit of big stores. But again, is that okay to do to big stores? Well, how come that's okay to do big stores and not to little stores, like local businesses?
Again, I think it comes down to with our way that we delineate everything is by how disruptive are we being. At a big store, it's just that we are less disruptive because of the size. And it's within our level of comfort and within other people's level of comfort there. If we walk into a small store, if there are other patrons in there, it's so much more noticeable that we're in there doing our thing than if it's at Fred Meyer where there's way more people, but also none of those people are paying attention.
Yeah. It's also like, I think if we really were dying to shoot in this tiny store, probably what we would do
we just talk to the person.
Yeah, because it's a small business. They're going to be willing to talk to you.
We would talk to the business, or one of us would go inside. The character would go inside, and the camera person would stand outside with a really long lens.
Yeah,
like across the street, and shoot inside the store. And also, but then again, you could ask, like, if you're going through all that trouble, why not like go through all the red tape and the loopholes of like asking their permission, getting the forms signed, the release forms and all that stuff.
Sometimes it is easier to go through all that trouble than go through the red tape still.
That's true.
Especially if it's a make or break for your movie.
Yeah.
That changes it for you. If it has to be that store, but you're worried that if you ask, they'll say no. Sometimes asking forgiveness is better than permission.
It's true.
Again, not legal advice.
I was just thinking that.
Not legal advice.
This is not us. I guess this is more specific to us.
Yeah, this is how we operate.
Not to just air our dirty laundry in front of everyone. This sounds like this should have been a private conversation. Why are we recording this?
It went downhill. It started off so good. So pure.
We're talking about abuse and like
on topic, I guess would be the right point.
Jeez. Yeah.
It's
applicable to all.
Yeah, applicable to all. I mean, again, I mean, I feel like the more we talk about it, the more it just goes back to like, just don't be disruptive.
Yeah, I mean, use common sense. I mean, if you are clinically sane, you will probably know
Be self-aware.
what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds fair.
Yeah, just use discretion.
Yeah.
There we go.
Go from there.
I think that's a good place
it's
to
that
wrap
easy.
it up.
Yeah.
Let's get away from these topics of abuse and legal boundaries and all
The
that
thing
stuff.
we should not be giving advice on.
Yeah, I know.
exactly.
Again, and I mean, chime in with your thoughts down below if what your thoughts are and all
Or if you
this.
have actual answers,
Yeah,
we'll take that too.
or if you're a lawyer, if you know anything about law.
If you know what you're talking about, we really appreciate your opinion.
We're the kind of people that will, if we share information, we try to share where we heard it and like preface it with being like, we're not experts, because we're not experts.
No.
We're just like repeating stuff we heard, because that's all you do as a human being, right? You just repeat stuff that you hear. Let's wrap up with this question, which I think is kind of a fun one. How much of your day do you spend time thinking about filmmaking?
Oh man.
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of nice. I don't know. Because forgetting about filmmaking and like trying not to think about it is the best way to kind of come up with solutions. I feel like to not. So like, I'll let my mind wander a lot, and if my mind comes to a filmmaking thing I've been trying to figure out, or if it's like a video idea or a movie or whatever, like that's great. I'll let it do that, but I don't always think about it. But every day I think about it at some point.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. We kind of live and breathe it.
Yeah. Zach?
Yeah, I would say, again, it depends on the day. But yeah, generally, if I have a bunch of free time and I'm just letting my mind wander or whatever, it'll come up from time to time. It's kind of a random thing. I don't really sit down unless I'm like on a time crunch and be like,
Ponder film.
I know. Pondering the
well, like if I'm like watching a movie, it'll come up probably at some point while I'm watching it or whatever. Like, ooh, that was really cool, or oh, I would have done that.
If I see something on YouTube that like sets me off down a rabbit hole, just
Yeah.
thinking about a movie, or like, oh, I forgot that movie exists, I'll think about that movie for the day usually. And just, should I watch the movie I'm thinking about? Probably, but since I'll just think about it.
I'm be the odd one out. I think about movies probably way too much.
Yeah.
Films and filmmaking. And that's changed since I started working at the school again. Because before, I mean, in the lockdown and pandemic, I had so much free time on my hand. Like, I was able to do more film stuff. So whenever I wasn't doing film stuff, it was like, okay, I get to relax and kind of
Take a break from it.
take a break. Now I am busy 35, well, I would say 40 hours a week, because, the commute to and from work and everything. 40 hours of the week I am occupied with work stuff. And I feel like that time outside of work is not enough to like get done what I need to get done. So obviously I won't be distracted at work, but like if I'm not doing anything emotionally taxing or like have to like focus in on what's going on, I'm like thinking about like, okay, what do I need to do? What's this idea I'm trying to pursue? How do I edit the sequence? I'm like thinking about it a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And if I'm like, even, and it's again, like if I'm with friends or whoever, like it's like, that's what I'm thinking about, which is, I mean, obviously I can get sucked into a conversation with people, but it's like, I'm thinking about, okay, this film thing I'm working on, or this film project, I'm like always thinking about it. And maybe that's because we've been so busy with film too. I feel like this year, compared to last year, there is no time these days, it feels like, to just stop and think about anything.
Once we hit fall of last year, when we were really like doing doomed. Yeah, I agree.
This fall, it's been nonstop. And so I feel like at a certain point, I can't turn my brain off from movies.
Yeah.
But then, of course, like, I still love movies, so it's like I'm excited to like see the new Spider-Man.
It's not a chore to think about movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
it's like it's a hobby and a passion, and well, a hobby is a passion. Yeah.
Well, it's like when we saw Dune. I was still thinking about that for a couple days after we saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I know.
When you stopped talking about it.
Still talking about it, and it's like, yeah, it's like I mean, because I like movies. Like it's fun stuff. I mean, obviously, I try to turn my brain off, you know, as much as I can. But I feel like I don't know. I think about it too much, probably.
Yeah. It's fun to think about movies, though.
Yeah.
I know.
And filmmaking.
I know.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate puzzle.
More often than not, I fall asleep thinking about movies.
I'll do that. Like last night, I was like, okay. I was trying to break a new outline for a movie, and I was like, okay, how does this movie go? And I'm trying to go through it in my head, and before I know it, I'm asleep. And I don't remember anything. But like every now and then, when I try to brainstorm as I'm sleeping, it's like, or before I sleep, I'll get an idea, and it's like, yeah, that's it, I got it, and then I'll write it down really quick.
Then you sleep.
Then I sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how healthy that is or not. I don't know what other filmmakers do, like how much they think about it. I think your living and your work situation would really depend.
Yeah.
Because when I was working at the film center, oh my gosh, it was movies all the time, and I couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah.
And even like last year in lockdown, same thing. Like, and it didn't feel as taxing as it does now, in a weird way. Like I feel like when we sit down to do a project or meeting, it's like, okay, this is work.
Yeah.
It feels like work, a little more like work this year.
It's not as much play.
Yeah, it's still fun, but I mean, we have a whole bunch of projects we're working on. That's not even all of them. I mean, we got 2 short films we're wrapping up. We got 2 feature films we're editing. Feature we're about to go into shooting.
Hey, people know about it at this point. It's Wild Boys.
Yeah.
Wild Boys 2 we're shooting. We got another big thing with another YouTuber, I'll say, that we're doing. Got a lot of stuff going on, which is, I mean, these are good problems, but it's about finding that work-life balance.
Especially since these don't pay bills yet.
Yeah, not yet.
That makes it way harder.
Yeah.
Because last year, all we were doing was making movies.
Yeah. And
This
YouTube
year's a little
stuff.
different. Yeah, YouTube
Yeah.
and making movies. And this year is a different ballgame.
If I had to change one thing we did last year, though, I would less focus on the business side of things.
Yeah, we were really trying hard for that.
We shouldn't have been.
No.
We probably ate a couple months out of like stuff we could have been doing.
Yeah. Oh, well.
We learn. We'll get back to that point at some point.
Maybe another couple of years.
When we're not broke and in debt and have to pay all these bills.
Yeah.
Oh well. We'll get there. This has not been a happy episode, I don't think.
This has been a heavy episode of Doomed.
I don't know. I was hoping to end on a happier topic. A question. Let's see if there's another good one in these viewer submitted questions.
What movie makes you the most happy?
I know what movie. You're just going through like the dark rabbit hole. We're staring into the abyss.
The abyss is definitely staring back.
Let's see. Some of these. Oh, favorite soundtrack.
Yeah.
Favorite soundtrack. That's a great one.
You know what? Okay, so you know Spotify, how they do their end of the year wrap up?
Yeah.
My when I was writing The Bell Rings, I was trying to listen to movie soundtracks.
Oh my gosh,
type
yeah.
at the which I don't usually do, but I found it really helped me out because I discovered a lot about myself in writing this year. I found I work really well at coffee shops. I always thought that was the dumbest thing. People would be like, "Oh, I only write at coffee shops," but it's me.
Harry Potter.
I
got
get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yes.
I totally get it. But I would listen to the Lighthouse soundtrack a lot, and I thought that would have come up on my Spotify, but actually the Witches soundtrack is the one I listened to the most this year, and actually like came out as one of my top listened to albums.
Oh, nice.
So that's probably, I think I'll just say that one, The Witch and the Lighthouse. Those have been two that I really, really enjoyed for working, and those are the ones I listened to the most this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good stuff.
I think my favorite soundtrack. I think The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That's definitely a contender. Lord of the Rings is a contender for favorite.
Yeah.
There's so many good soundtracks. It's so hard to pick.
And it's not even like those, like The Witch and the Lighthouse, are like the most iconic ones. Those are just the ones I've listened to recently. I love Hans Zimmer's stuff for Man of Steel and Justice League.
Junkie XL for Justice.
Oh, Junkie, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The the what's it called? I think Philip Glass, Koya Niskatsi, like that's one of my all-time favorites. I love Philip Glass or Mishima. I still have never seen Mishima, but I've heard the album so many times. Zach, what about you? Your favorite soundtracks?
I have my top 4 here.
From Spotify Wrapped?
No, I just have them in my notes.
Oh,
'cause I'm
nice.
that kind
Nice.
of person.
Okay,
Someone's prepared.
But yeah, so like my favorite one is definitely Lord of the Rings. I could talk for many hours about it.
Yeah.
And why it's so good. I would recommend a video by Listening In or something like that, who broke down the score for the Lord of the Rings, and it was really cool. And that just scrapes the surface. And then also BVS soundtrack.
Oh,
is
yeah.
Phenomenal.
So good.
Beautiful Lies, one of the best
Oh yeah.
tracks in DC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then another one by Hans Zimmer was the Dark Phoenix score, which
Yeah.
Hey.
I did not like that movie. It was better than I expected, but I still did not like it. But the soundtrack is so good.
Legion's soundtrack is very good.
Yeah. This is a whole nother topic, but I'm going to go down this rabbit hole anyways.
Oh boy.
So when we were doing Bell Rings, I had a playlist of stuff that I would listen to.
Can you send it to me? Because I have a Bell Rings playlist.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Well, it's not even a real playlist, but it's just like songs that would be in. I can tell you what it is. It was always Legion, like the scores for Legion and The Green Knight.
Okay.
Those are the two things I listened to a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And similar to you, like whenever I'm working on a project, what I'm listening to will like reflect that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised in my Spotify Wrapped. I thought there'd be a lot of Video Carnage stuff, like Dua Lipa and Lorde, and like electronic sounding music stuff. Like I put a playlist together that's people can look for it. I have a like public like Video Carnage vibes playlist that you can check out. It's not the score, but you can check it out. But nothing from Video Carnage came up.
Weird.
Because animating was like a year-long thing.
Yeah.
And that's been a whole lot of time. So all the stuff on my Spotify is like, oh yeah, because I would spend like hours and hours and hours every single day animating. And so it makes sense that like the stuff I listen to animating would like pop up.
Yeah.
So it's that was kind of interesting, but it's similar. Like any score that or any movie I'm working on, those playlists are like connected to what I'm listening to, or whatever.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
We could probably go on and on and on about music.
Oh, for all these
Revenge of the
topics.
Sith is another good one.
Oh yes.
Definitely, my opinion is that is the best of John Williams.
I
right
agree.
there.
I agree. Completely
100%.
agree.
He goes
He goes
all
hard
in.
in that one.
Yeah.
He brings in so many good themes in that one too that never appear again. Like it's like let's just have let's give Grievous a random theme, and it's like what? It's like
it's
what?
like yo.
It's like oh
Or
my
like
goodness.
like you can listen to some of or many of them actually, and like get the vibes from the scene just by listening. Like
That's
Padme's
just us
Ruminations.
knowing these movies by heart, I
know.
think.
Padme's Ruminations will give you chills every single time.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, that's such a great example where he incorporated all the themes from the previous movies in an interesting way, but he also you would think because it's the last one he wouldn't add any more, but he adds so many iconic themes within it.
Yeah.
I
He
mean,
didn't
Battle
need to,
of
but he did.
Heroes is completely new and yet based off of, well, what George Lucas told him was, hey, Duel of the Fates, but the tragedy of the breaking of these two characters' friendship and bond.
Yeah.
And you get this kind of opera type situation. It's like
insane.
really cool.
It's amazing. And I love it doesn't pop up a lot. I think it only pops up once or twice. But they've used like the motifs for Battle of Heroes in Clone Wars.
Yeah, they used it in season 6 when with the Order 66 dream sequence with Yoda.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And
there's
also was it right before they use it right before Anakin leaves Ahsoka in season 7, I think.
Oh, I didn't remember that. I remember one where he goes into. I think they're not on Mortis. No, they are on Mortis.
Is it the one where he's in?
He's
the
like
cave?
possessed in the volcano, and they
Yes.
use it in there. I think.
Yeah. They used Padme's ruminations in when Ahsoka has the vision of the Senate duel.
Yeah.
With Mace Windu and all that stuff. That I need to rewatch season 7. That was so good.
That season. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Gosh, where were we talking about?
I think we should have been wrapping up a while ago.
We're just rambling. I don't even know how long this is.
Gosh, I keep.
We're in an hour and 10 minutes.
10.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
That's not
Okay, so maybe we should wrap this up for real. Thank you for listening, everyone.
For our most incriminating episode yet.
Yeah.
I know. There were highs, there were lows, but hopefully you enjoyed them all the same. If you enjoyed this episode, check us out on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe button. We got some great videos coming up. So you want to stay tuned for that stuff. As always, you can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all those good places. And thanks for supporting us, and we will see you in the next one.